Okay.
All right. Hello, everybody.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Okay, so this is the first episode of an experimental podcast. So, would everybody go down the line, give their first names, and a little bit of something about themselves? Michael, you want to start?
Michael
Alright.
from the UK, the only English one here. It's great. Currently in college. See, this is why this was a shit idea.
Yeah, it's very bad. Nah, my
Whose
name is
idea was it to
Hannah.
give introductions about themselves?
Hello,
I was
everybody.
about to give mine until, you interrupted me. But okay, sure, why not?
Just go.
All right, let's start this.
Oh,
Come on, guys.
All right, my name is Honan. I am a Asian Canadian, currently in Alberta. Great. I'm currently in high school, which is also... I know, high school's horrible. Please save me from this hell. All right, just
Fair
so
enough.
you know.
All right, GCD.
I'm JC. I run a YouTube channel. I'm also getting into work for the Navy.
Oh,
Going into
fun.
the Navy, I do YouTube for skeptical atheism and also men's rights activism.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, perfect.
I'm Noah. I'm currently in high school, but I plan on going into university, getting an undergraduate in economics, and going into law. So that's a little bit about ourselves. So next topic is
All right.
who won the presidency, and what could this mean for the United States?
Well, Trump won. That's great for us.
That's kind of good. I mean,
I would argue that I came from the idea that we were screwed either way. That no matter
Yeah,
where we
that's
came,
what I mean.
we're screwed either way.
That's what I mean. It's better for us Canadians because now we have the time to legislate putting pitchforks on the border.
well, it's purely dependent. I mean, we don't know how Trump as a president because he's not president yet. He's still president elect, and he hasn't had any real power yet.
Yeah, and
he
it's
has already
a lot unknown, but from their past and the things that I've talked about with their past and the things that we do know, I was always like, I'm not the most optimistic of people.
No, and
That's to be sure.
I mean, Trump proved us wrong in the primaries. He proved us wrong in the election because we all thought he wasn't going to win the primaries or the election. So, by what we think of him now, he's going to be a fantastic president.
he's known to subvert expectation.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, he could potentially pull out like Reagan and be like that.
Yeah,
but
he could be really good.
I'm not sure. It's a hit or miss right now, and at this point, it's just knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay.
I mean,
Better than fucking Clinton, I will say. He is definitely the lesser of two evils, although I would have preferred some kind of third party candidate. I kind of like Jill Stein.
I can't like Jill Stein. She's too economically challenged for me. Like, I see her as too economically challenged.
She's an eco-terrorist, but hey, she's a kind and
She's an
nice eco-terrorist. And if
Oh boy.
I want someone
gonna
on
start
the left
bombing
who isn't a complete nut job like Clinton.
there wasn't almost
we don't
no
wanna-
one in this election that wasn't a complete nut job anyway.
Gary Johnson was a stoner.
yeah.
What are you talking about? He was like the cool grandfather. Was like, he was
Johnson
like the
wasn't
cool uncle who'd call you over and give you a drag on his joint.
Well, I would have said that.
I mean, he was high the whole time he was talking, but
Yeah,
He
was
did look like it.
probably
Quite.
the best that we got him. I prefer Bernie. I wanted Bernie.
no,
but
he's
Bernie
to
was
me he's the
absolutely
socialist
correct.
nutcase. I would not. Again, he's like Jill Stein. He's economically challenged. What he wanted
I
is impossible
believe-
to put through without putting the U.S. in twice the debt it's in now.
Well, England is
Well, I
pulling
mean,
back.
you know,
and it's still democratic socialist, and that's why I'm saying having a democratic socialist society, but willing to balance out the checks and balances.
But they never do. Government always abuses that power when they have it. That's why we don't let the government have that power. Well, that's why the U.S. Constitution doesn't allow the government to have that power in the first place. It's like Canada. In our Constitution, in the Section 1, it allows the government to make restrictions and regulations based on based on, in quotes, reasonable. And that can be stretched to whatever they feel is the subjective at the time.
Yeah, how do you define reason?
Yeah, it's
and I still argue that again. That's why I wanted, and I talked to Michael about this several times. If you had Bernie, had the Republicans take the House, Democrats take the Senate, there could have been some leeway. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I said we needed some kind of balance along with having some kind of democratic mind.
But here's the thing: it goes to why student loans government subsidizing schools are also why student loans are so high, because the schools know that the government will eventually pay for it. That means as a private institution like Oxford or Harvard or Yale, they can drive up their prices for tuition, and they know that the government will pay for it. When it's in a purely free market, that invisible hand of the free market is what keeps those prices down and competitive, so that they run it like they run their school in at a
But
more
the
affordable
problem,
prices.
The problem if you do that is that the teachers are absolute crap.
Well, no, what
my personal problem is that they abuse that system and it becomes a monopoly.
Which
See, you have to have some kind of rule. You have to have some
and I agree with government regulations on monopolies. Government should keep people from screwing over other people detrimentally. The only reason why you should fail is because your business is not good, not because another business is way better.
Or we end up in some kind of situation where it's not like it's taken advantage of by some kind of authoritarian who says, we're going to teach this to children, and we get like the social justice bullshit that we've been having for the last few years of the education system.
So your problem is with an authoritarian pushing gender studies classes or other indoctrination type curriculums.
That's what I'm against.
That's why I'm for freedom of education, so that nothing. So if government doesn't have that power, and business has that power, they only have that power over their own business. That means if people don't like that kind of stuff, they're going to fail. Which they should. If they're producing something the market doesn't want, they will fail as they should.
And to a degree, I can see where you're coming from, but the problem is that most of these people, like most of these school systems, are taking money from some kind of backer.
Yes,
some
it's
kind
like
of third party.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, and that's not the problem. I don't generally see how that's a problem. If they're teaching indoctrination, and like, I don't have a problem with them staying up and teaching crap. If they want to teach crap, they'll teach crap, but it's up to people to know better. To where to invest their money in.
It can't be presented as fact.
And the whole thing is, if people want to put their money into garbage, they can put their money into garbage. But when nothing comes of it, when their investments are going to be shit, when people watch like Undoomed and Thunderfoot and Hunter Avalon, when people watch this crap and show and learn that it's absolute garbage, then they're going to stop putting their money into it. The foundation that kept them up is going to fail, and they're going to fail themselves.
We're talking about education here, right? So if you're gonna educate a bunch of people that one thing is right and one thing is not, and then you throw them out there into the wild and tell them to make their own opinion, they're going to make their own opinion based on what they've learned.
No, since
well, children are like sponges. I kind of like how Suit Yourself put it. Children are like sponges. They suck up knowledge and they deduct from what they've sucked in.
That's on the way. I mean, now that Trump is president, I'll have to switch the item around. But I'm on the wall about government standard curriculums. I'm on the wall about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Maths, English, and
It
science is
has some okay effects, but my problem is that it's too easy.
Universal.
And I actually like universal education where everyone is on the same page.
Yeah, like it. Well,
important for everyone to at least
I
have the
still
equal.
like the idea of private institutions being allowed. I'm for public schools, but I'm
Oh,
still for
Ah.
private institutions being able to teach what they want on top of a government standard curriculum, because a government standard curriculum, if it's purely based on subjects that are based on facts, like just teach the facts of biology and mathematics and history and
But if those private institutions will be having kids
fair
spending
enough. And the
who
problem
don't
is with most private schools like that. For instance, I used to go to a Christian private school,
same here.
and to there, my the principal slash owner of the place was a militia fanatic.
Yeah, and they
The
taught
school
they taught they taught
money.
they taught creationism in my school. Guess what I did my first summer I was out of it? I learned it was bullshit.
Good.
Well,
Michael's trying. Michael is trying to speak, but he's not coming up on
Your mic is a little
He's not
off
even
here. You might
speaking.
need to
He's
unplug
not
and plug
talking
it back
for shit.
in.
I'm just kind of, I'm not massively well versed in this, so I'm just sort of listening and sort of
So
the argument.
Yeah, honestly, me and Michael are just throwing in what we can at this point.
Education is not my area of expertise.
I can't hear the bastard, so I don't know.
Oh boy.
Oh,
This is
dear
fantastic.
Lord.
All right, do you want to try and
Someone throw in the Jeopardy music. We have some technical difficulties here.
Fucking hell.
But okay, now your
First
mic is
fucking
good. Your mic
turn.
is good for me now.
I'm back.
Alright.
All right, Michael, you're good.
All right, cool. Damn it, Discord.
The
Again,
problem wasn't
but
that
I
Michael
don't
wasn't coming up. It was
think
that he wasn't
that
talking.
I don't think that schools should be stopped from being able to teach, like, creationism if they want to. But the parents should know full well
What is being
taught.
Well,
Or what curriculum's
the
going
same
on.
thing
I
with
am all
residential schools.
for the parents being involved in the child's education.
I agree.
Do you remember the
and
residential schools from the Canadian history?
Yeah, you
You
mean the
remember
ones
those
that our
where they
fucking
took
prime
the
minister
child?
cried about on TV, like Anderson Cooper?
No, what I'm trying to say is that when you take away the kids from the parents for a whole entire
No, I'm not
teaching
saying
year-
take away the kids from the parents. I'm just saying, like, this is Billy Goat. No, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about reform schools. I'm talking about private schools where Jimmy takes a bus to whatever the fuck of peace and comes home at 3 o'clock
What
at
I'm
night,
saying
has
is-
dinner with mommy and daddy, and I should believe that the parents should know about the curriculum.
What I'm trying to
I
say is
agree with
that to
that,
a lesser extent, schools nowadays still have the same effect. It does.
How
That's
so?
the problem with education
But wait,
outside
how
of
is the
someone's
school? How are
house.
schools having the same effect or problem? What is this effect you're speaking of?
It's lesser, but because kids are so detached nowadays from their parents, right? Like you're an edgy
Kids are
14-year-old
detached from
kid.
their parents, but that doesn't mean their parents shouldn't know their curriculum.
Yeah, but it means that the kid's not gonna like listen to their parents as much, unless you're like that really
But how does
chilled,
them
laid
listening
back.
to their parents decide if their parents want them in that school or not?
If their parents put them in school, they get the education already. They come home, they tell the parents their education. The parents don't agree
No,
with it.
I'm not saying the child should have to. I think you're seeing this as the kid comes home and tells them all about their day at school. No, there should be a printed piece of paper that goes through the curriculum. And if there's anything controversial, like there are, you get permission slips, and you sign off. Like we had in my biology class, we watched a video of a live birth. It's disgusting as it was. We got a permission form for it.
Actually, I had a child development class. That was
No,
fun.
this is why this is
That doesn't work. It doesn't work that way in Edmonton public
watching
schools. I'm not
watching
sure
a
if you
real
noticed or
life
not.
birth is why I'm abstinent. That's why I believe in abstinence, because that is scarring for life. There's yellow goo. It's like an alien's coming out.
That's the pus. That's the pus and the mucus and stuff.
I don't remember the
More or less
for-
likely the pus. I'm pretty sure it's not the pus, honestly.
All right, let's
I'm
see.
for teaching like the parents being involved with the schools and talking with their teachers and actually getting this stuff through. But one part of learning is that you're challenged, that your pride and that your worldview is challenged, and you don't learn by being coddled. Don't learn by
Absolutely. How many? You know what? Before, when I believed in creationism, how many times do you think I got my ass beat on the internet, and for good reason?
Yeah, and you learn by having
Your views
some
challenged.
kind of.
That's why I don't like safe spaces. That's why I think we can all agree. Nobody likes safe spaces. Aren't a good thing. Trigger warnings aren't a good thing. I mean, trigger warnings relate to detrimental circumstances that happened previously, but being exposed to an opposing force that would quote unquote trigger you, psychology shows that starting off from small increments of exposure to increasingly larger ones shows that people usually tend to get over trauma. And same with the worldviews. Like you get your worldview challenged, and you create. And if you choose to keep believing in that, even if you lose a couple of debates, you start to form better and better arguments. That's how.
Yeah, and I agree.
What argument can you form that giving birth to a child's bad?
That's just a personal opinion I made up for comedic purposes.
Abort them all!
Avoid them all. Like you know what? I used to even in the Christian school. There was a whole
failed abortion.
Even in the Christian school, there was a whole unit on pro-life, and I was still like I was in grade 8, and they were teaching you can kill a fucking child in the womb. But I was actually for abortion because I didn't know any better, and I didn't know how perverse a notion abortion is until I got into biology 20 and biology 30, which is grade 11 and grade 12 biology.
Bitch, what?
Like, I used to be all for people getting abortions if they didn't think the time is right, and then I learned how perverse and disgusting a notion it is, and now I'm against it. But I have good arguments against it because I've had them challenged. That's why I like public schools. Public schools are awesome because you get people of all different faiths and ideas, and you can put your ideals to the test and see how well
there you go. There's
There's
actually these two batshit crazy girls in my school they're total feminists, right? They won't let anyone talk and hold their points across. They will scream at the top of the lungs at the
but
teacher.
That's not a good thing. Like, that's not a good thing. You shouldn't. Debates are not won by who can scream over the other person ladder. That's how idiocy is won. That's how degenerates win arguments.
Nowadays it is.
No, that's how degenerates win arguments. That's how degenerates avoid arguments. My bad.
What they're doing.
Oh lord, that's.
You'd love to be able to have proper conversations, but half the time you can't. It does just come down to who's shouting the loudest.
Yes, and it's disgusting. Like you see, if you saw any videos of Jordan Peterson, all the social justice warriors, all they did, their best argument was screaming shame, transphobic, and putting white noise over a loudspeaker so he couldn't be heard. That was it. That was their best arguments.
How do you think Trump won the election?
Exactly.
Hey guys,
Trump won the primaries.
I gotta do something.
What do you gotta do?
Gotta help family with something.
The
rest of my family are coming over.
Can you pause?
I'm just gonna mute.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute. Right. You guys talk. Give us some drama.
Okay.
This is the TheCanCon show, minus the JCD-ness.
All right. He's muted his mic. Okay, so let's go into. So we've touched on education. I'm gonna wait to get into the First Amendment Defense Act once he gets back. Anything you want to? Anything you want to? I think Trump. Let's start off here. I think Trump is a great. The idea of the Trump movement was a fantastic revolt against political correctness and SJW culture.
I think that's
but it's not the best thing for the world. Let me say that right now. Do you say
it's not the best thing for the world? Just because it's not the best thing for the world doesn't mean it's not a good thing for the world.
Yeah.
The retaliation people had against being
not
PC.
It's not a good thing, but it sure as hell not helping some countries. Like,
Well,
you
then-
see Mexico, its peso is at, last I checked, 21 pesos to $1 American. That's not good for them.
Yeah, but that's not
How much
America's
is it?
problem to fix. It's not America's problem to babysit other countries. It's the country's job. It's the leaders of the country's job to make an economic foundation where people can
That can
thrive.
support itself.
That's
Needs
the
to be
whole
able to
point of the
support
government. The government is there so that's my belief. The government is there to make the foundations for economic growth and let people take charge. Not of the government, but
You see,
people to take charge of the economy. It's not the government's job to
I
regulate the
don't agree with
economy
that.
because every time that ends in bloodshed and socialism, or it ends in.
I don't agree with that because if you're looking at countries like, let's say, Africa or Brazil, they are some of their industries are completely taken over by transnational corporations. Brazil sends a majority of their meat stocks to McDonald's, that corporation, so that they can sell their beef to a company without having to fear of
Yeah,
other.
but that company is based in Brazil and is hiring Brazilian workers. They're not outsourcing; they're hiring Brazilian workers.
Oh no, that's totally an outsource. McDonald's is an American company.
McDonald's is an American company, but they're employing. But that means they're taking money from they're taking supplies from other countries. That means they're paying other countries that have given them supplies. That means the country.
But don't you think that because of how much Brazil relies on this transnational corporation, don't you think that they have influence over their political statutes and states? It's the same thing with Mexico
politics,
and America.
yeah, you're right. Politics doesn't have a place in the economy, really. I mean, there are some regulations I can agree to be made, and I'm sure we can have arguments about each individual one. But the government should not have carte blanche over the economy.
I just said that the economy and politics, you can't avoid them.
Oh Lord! What I'm trying to get at here is, Mexico has been so centered around America and America's companies that as soon as Trump gets elected, the problem for them is that they no longer have their main source of income, or they don't no longer have a reliable
Trump's not
business.
going to repeal NAFTA. The government, the Republican Senate and House are not going to let him do stupid shit like that. The majority of Republicans don't really like Trump, like Paul Ryan. And I was about to say Sean Hannity, but Sean Hannity's like a fucking his ass kisser to Trump.
Just say Ted Cruz. That's easy enough to say.
Oh, you should have seen Ted Cruz's face when he was phone banking for Trump. Like Ben Shapiro said, it was like a child who was just told his parents will die one day. He like looks so depressed, and it's fucking hilarious.
He just lost his will to live, right?
Yeah, that is the lost will to live. Like, look it up right now on Google. Ted Cruz phone banking for Trump. That is the saddest face you will see.
I do think I know.
He finally went on the internet for the first time in 4 years.
People not liking Trump, the Republicans not liking Trump, is a good indicator that they're going to keep him in line, and that's a good thing.
No, but
because more traditional Republicans are in the House and in the Senate, and they're going to keep Trump in line.
Yeah, when he goes to.
The thing about America is that the president is big enough to influence other countries. Wait, what? Michael, you were speaking? Sorry about that, mate.
Sorry. I was just saying that if Trump was to go and, like, as all the liberals would have you believe, go and just push the nuclear button because he's bored or whatever, he's going to have people around him trying to rein him in and going, no, that's not a good idea.
But here's the thing. I like how Obama's hypocrisy hit him right in the back of the fucking head, or fired right back at him, because he said, what did he said, like, if we can't trust a man with a Twitter, how are we going to trust him with the nuclear codes? Well, he endorsed Hillary Clinton, who pointed out the fact that it takes 4 minutes for her to enter the codes and the nukes are launched, and he elected, and he chose Joe Biden. He chose Joe Biden, who, at a rally, pointed behind him at a guy who was also holding nuclear codes and pointed him out. There's a guy with nuclear codes right there. So Obama's hypocrisy is, with nuclear programs, doesn't mean that Trump is going to be bad.
No.
It just means that he's a hypocrite.
Do you want him with his finger on the nuclear button? Which is obviously a ridiculous argument
because it has to. That order has to go through to generals, and it has to go through the army.
And if they looked at that and went, Jesus Christ, no, we can't nuke Switzerland or whatever, then
Why would you
then
want to
put the
nuke
order-
Switzerland?
Why would you want to lose
I would,
Switzerland?
you know
I
what?
love their cheese.
If Trump's presidency was just comedic headlines like that, I would elect him for a second term. Second
I
term.
would.
No, Trump, we can't get rid of all the Taco Bells.
You can.
Trump
Honestly,
to deport the Taco Time dog or the Taco Bell dog.
Oh my god.
Like if it's
No,
just 4 years of headlines like that, I'm sure he'll be a fantastic president. I'll move to America and vote him in for a second
He's a
term.
true meme.
I won't. No, it takes 7 years until you can vote. Until you can vote, I'm pretty sure. Same thing with Canada.
7 years until you can. No, there's an
What,
election every
immigrants
4
voting
years.
in California? Illegal?
No,
immigrants?
I mean it takes 7 years until you become a citizen, right? Or is that just because you're living there?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I'll find out when I try to move to Georgia. Let's
Just get married to a Georgian.
get your green card.
No, like I don't want
Nothing.
my marriage. I don't want to get married just for the sake of having an anchor in the States. I'd rather get like citizenship really legitimately.
Why not?
I know.
Get laid for
Oh Lord, Michael.
Okay,
Michael,
so
you have just dug yourself a very
I
deep
believe
hole,
our
and I
friend
cannot
is
dig you
back,
out, my friend.
and
it. Wow.
What
Oh,
did
hey,
I
look.
miss?
okay, so
Are
we
you
just
done with your,
all we did was talk
your little
about funny
section?
shit. I mean, we just talked about how Trump's election
We
was
just talked
was
about how Donald Trump is a meme.
yeah, pretty much. Trump's election was purely based off of backlash to SJW culture. But if all of his
His election
presidency,
was purely based off of
we
memes.
pointed out the fact that Obama said that Trump couldn't be trusted with the nuclear codes. Well, Obama elected a vice president who pointed out a guy with nuclear codes, and Hillary Clinton leaked information at a rally that it takes 4 minutes for her to enter the codes and the nukes to
It
be
wasn't at a
launched.
rally actually.
So
It was at
Obama's
it was at an
hypocrisy is
actual
not any
debate.
reason that Trump is going to be bad.
She leaked.
And
during the
then we
debate
talked
with Trump.
about if Chank, god damn it. Okay, so we talked about if all of Trump's presidency is just funny headlines like Trump tries to deport the Taco Bell dog, or Trump tries to nuke Switzerland, I would elect him. I would elect him a second. I would elect him for a second
On
term.
that topic, funny headlines. Donald Trump-
On the
Not
topic of
really.
funny
No,
headlines.
Trump, you can't call Canadians snow Mexicans.
Well, I heard some Canadians joke about building a wall toward even America.
There was some
So
joke.
when America builds a wall to fucking Mexico, and then you have
Canada's gonna build a wall to keep Americans out. Our
Yes.
prime minister won't do anything about it. Like he like Obama, he's a better celebrity than he is a leader. Because I saw this meme where Ash Carter was really the president and Obama was just the face.
That wouldn't surprise me actually.
And then Joe
There's
Biden.
a lot of things in this world that
You know
wouldn't
what
surprise
still
me. You'd
irks
be
me,
surprised.
but is absolutely hilarious is like Obama won't trust Trump, but he'll trust Joe Biden, who said the best way to defend your home is shove 2 barrels of a double-barrel shotgun out your door and blast whoever's behind it. Best form of house defense ever.
Did you see the link that
Joe Biden's
Michael
a
just
nut.
put in the chat?
Yeah, Donald Trump has been named Cossack. This is actually happening.
Hold on, let me find
Donald
a
Trump
video
has
again.
been made an honorary Russian Cossack.
I understand people's reasoning for not liking Russia because Vladimir Putin isn't the nicest of people in the entire world. Like he's been accused, and there's evidence that he poisoned his
He's
political
been accused
opposition.
of putting people in their place. There's no other way to describe it.
But
Well,
I think
I hate him because of anti-homosexuality law.
yeah, like honestly, that's stupid. But it's stupid. He's corrupt, I believe. He's
Yes.
anti-freedom, which I hate. But this doesn't
Authoritarian,
mean
yeah.
that the
That doesn't-
future
you
for
can't
Russia
say
doesn't hold something better. I just don't like him. You're right. I don't like him. Now, I think you wanted to talk about the First Amendment Defense Act.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Oh, hey,
Wait.
look.
Could you take a start on it, explain what it is, and if you miss anything, I'll try and catch up, and then explain your opinion, and you'll get the time to
The
do that.
First Amendment Defense Act is an act to where
Well, no shit.
religious freedoms cannot be judged at all, even if it is harmful in any way. For example, there can be homosexuality bans in stores just on religious bias, and have other things like religious teachings being taught in public schools. With the intention is to push religion on and bring it back.
Okay, now I'll read the provisions, or I'll summarize the provisions. All the First Amendment Defense Act is that people who have anti-homosexual values based on religion or not, because I do know a
Yes.
couple of agnostics and atheists who don't really believe in religion based on biological and psychological things, but I'll invite them over if you want to get into them with them. All it means, all it does is people who have who are against homosexuality cannot be punished by the government and revocation of tax exemption status, grants, loans, benefits, or employment. That's it.
Which I agree is actual. Now you may disagree with me, but I believe if you want to have these beliefs, you should not have the government giving you tax exempt. Not only should you not have
it
tax
depends on
exempt,
the circumstance. If you want to get tax exemption status just because you're religious, then no, you shouldn't be able to. You pay your taxes like everybody else. But if you know, if you were to have an opinion and not be granted tax exemption status in a situation where you would normally have it exempt just because of your opinion, then no, absolutely not. The government shouldn't have to force people to be nice to each other. If the government forced people to be nice to each other, New York would split off into 60 different factions and they all try to kill each other.
Sorry that ruined the movie, but
That's beautiful.
I had to. I'm sorry, I had to.
Well, anyway, no, New York honestly is quite a chill place. Last time I was there with my aunt, it was a nice place.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's with the whole Chick-fil-A situation when the when the owner
Yes,
when the
I
CEO said I don't like gays.
No,
I would
I don't
believe. I think
support
if I looked at the numbers
homosexuality.
right, they
Marriage.
lost profits. They lost profits. So if you're gonna be openly
But you
against
will.
other people, you're gonna lose profits, and that's the
That's the punishment.
invisible hand of the free market. If you're gonna be a dick, you're gonna face repercussions by not getting profits, or you're gonna face repercussions by the people. You're gonna face the people's repercussions. You shouldn't have to face government repercussions. You should have to face the people's repercussions based on their will, their free will, not to engage in transactions with your company.
I agree with that. And
Yeah.
my thing is that I'm afraid that it's going to be like the Louisiana law.
Oh
I'm
Lord.
afraid that it's going to be abused like the Louisiana Act. That was kind of the same way, where it was
Sounded lovely in
just a
theory.
shit show.
Could you give me a little context on what the law
Louisiana
is?
just needed to reword a few things and they would have been scot-free of this shit.
Hold on. I will put it in the act. I mean, I'll put the...
Yeah, could you give me a summary of it? Just because... Like, I don't know if it's like that Religious Defense Act that came out a couple months ago or maybe last year, but a lot of people didn't understand that. A lot of people didn't understand that what it was the gay couple, they entered in and they entered this bakery knowing full well with that they wouldn't be baked this cake. Okay, I guarantee you they entered knowing full well, and they just wanted to put this family under prosecution.
They did it as
There
a
was
statement.
malicious intent from. I won't deny that there was probably a little bit of malicious intent, but here's what the act implies. It implies that the family does not have to create a product if they don't want to, but they're not allowed to refuse to sell They shouldn't be allowed to refuse to sell an already existing product if on the basis of discrimination. But they should
agree with that.
Okay.
I put the
That's fair.
first little bit of the law and its code into the chat.
Should we,
Okay, the person. Okay. Oh, do you mind giving a little bit of a vocal thing? Because we are on
All
a
right.
time.
What it is that it's a that religious churches, a person including an individual or includes some kind of church or church, it qualifies for a tax exemption under the section under the law, which they get revenue from the government, which that is part of it.
No, I don't
along
think
with,
government should. I don't think government should subsidize churches. No. That.
Yeah,
What about the?
and
It's like
it
the same
also-
reason for government subsidizing colleges. What if I don't go to college? Like, what if I'm an atheist? I don't want to pay for something I don't believe in.
You should.
It also
your money should never
constrains
go
or
towards
inhabitants'
them.
conduct or expression mandate by a person, or in other words, that certain expressions to, like, if you express your ideas and opinions differently from these, that is in conflict with the law. If it's held religious,
So if you're against something and you voice it, you could be prosecuted.
pretty much.
That's morally reprehensible. That's not what.
Are there any
Like,
examples? That
how
actually
can people
happen?
allow things that are this against the Constitution to?
Yeah, and
Because
denies.
Was anyone actually prosecuted?
Yeah, it does, and it also denies opportunity to engage in activities.
Yeah, see, something like this is a little bit of garbage. I mean, I would have to look at each individual circumstance that it implies that it either denies or allows. But again, I'm not for government-funded, government-subsidized churches, and I'm not for government, like, in the same reason I'm not for government-subsidized colleges. If your church shouldn't be a profit. Because if sure, the argument is if it's not subsidized by the government, the church is going to try and make as much profit as it does. Then how much of a real church, like how much of real church values was it expressing in the first place? Then, like,
I still can't hear Michael, so I don't know what the fuck is going on.
bloody
I
He's
hell.
see
not
him-
even talking.
Well,
Like, I see his icon popping up though.
okay.
Like he's trying to
Wait a
speak,
minute.
but
What is going
Just
on
like
with
this.
this?
what is it with you two? Your computers just don't like each other. Okay, so I think we can
Yeah.
start touching in the
Right.
Bill-C16.
yeah, try
Michael?
speaking now.
Michael?
Let's see. Can you hear now?
Oh, hey, Mike.
Hello.
Oh,
Hey,
Michael.
Mike.
no.
I
Mike?
still can't hear the fuck.
Oh, I kind of guessed
Maybe
the
I need to-
answer. Okay.
All right, let's move on to the next topic.
Okay.
How do you leave? Like, how do you?
You see that phone
Leave.
button with the plus? Right by
Yeah.
the eye? That's how you disconnect.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's
Good
gone.
riddance, motherfucker.
Okay.
Oh,
Good.
All
right.
right, I'm joining.
Didn't need him.
Can you hear him?
Oh, hey, he's back. Hey, what's up?
Oh no, I can't hear him.
All right, there you go. Now I hear him.
But he can't hear you.
Oh,
Okay, how about now?
Oh, God.
He's going wonderfully.
No, oh, fuck.
And now your voice
still
is
good.
screwed up.
I can hear him now.
All right.
This is
Can you-
fantastic.
And now we're playing freaking
We're playing hop. We're playing back and forth with this. We're playing.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
We're playing virtual
All right.
Pong.
Oh,
Oh,
Do you guys hear me? Do you hear me?
yes, and I just found something absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
I can't hear him.
Okay. Okay.
All right, moving on. Oh,
Okay, your
God,
mic is
you
good
laugh.
now. The First Amendment Defense Act. Okay, the First Amendment Defense Act. Or not the First Amendment, Bill
We're
C16,
already
my
over
bad.
this.
Bill C16.
Yeah, the transgender bill.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay,
So
yeah.
this piece of shit is probably gonna get every educated at my school landed in jail.
Yes.
More or less likely.
Yeah.
I
I mean, so will the
I
majority
don't
of
know
hate speech
anything.
laws.
I don't live in Canada. I haven't
Okay.
researched this.
I'll be able to
Basically,
summarize
if
the bill
if
for you
don't
right here.
say
Okay.
no one's-
So basically,
Okay, I mean,
the
it's gonna be a-
Canadian Human Rights Act allows people to be free of discriminatory practices based on race, nationality, ethnic origin, color, religion, age, sex, sexual orientation, marital status, family status, disability, or conviction of an offense.
Basically,
Which a pardon has been granted. So let's say you were convicted of stealing something, but you were offered a pardon, then you can't be discriminated against. Now, gender identity or expression is going to be added to that. But I already don't agree with people not selling people things or hiring people because of their whatever, whatever the provisions were on that list. But I'm very against hate speech laws. Because people should be able to say whatever they want. People should be able to express their opinion. You shouldn't be able to limit other people's freedoms just because you don't like what they are or who they are. But the government shouldn't be able to limit your freedoms just because you don't like them. They shouldn't be able to incarcerate you just because you don't like them.
Well, it's the same. It's the argument of where's the line? Where are you gonna find the line that dictates what's hate speech and what's
that line, that incredibly undefined line, goes into the same umbrella term as reasonable.
Yeah,
and what I mean that isn't really specific though, and it's like saying reasonable. I have a reasonable opinion on blacks.
It's subjective.
I'm a part of the KKK.
It's subjective. It's purely based on subjective. Now,
yeah,
the only voice policing I am okay with is things that will actually cause harm, such as people inciting riots and people saying if you yell fire in a crowded place or you yell bomb in an airport, terrorism. Things that will actually get people hurt. But if you should not be stopped from expressing your opinion.
Well, I was trying to add in there also terrorism.
Yeah.
Terrorism and overzealous kind of I would say rebellion. Acts of kind of rebellion being violent.
Yes, like peaceful protests, that's allowed, and that's fine. I'm okay with the Trump protests that are going on in America right now. As long as they're peaceful, I'm fine with that. I get it. People don't like him, and they're trying to be civil about it. But you can't rip some guy out of his car and start beating him or start beating people up because they have a different opinion than you. That's degenerate behavior. You're nothing better than a child, and you should be thrown in jail for assault.
Would you say that?
I hope people like Ghazi like that are thrown in prison.
I don't like
Ghazi. What? I'm gonna have to say
I really don't like Ghazi. People call him Black Hitler. I think so, but he hasn't done anything violent. If he starts calling to violent actions, then yes, he should be incarcerated. But Ghazi is also an idiot. You see, I don't know how people agree with him in his comment section. He's an idiot. He absolutely has no idea what he's talking about, and anybody with a semi-realistic view of the world or semi-realistic understanding of the world doesn't agree with him because he's insane.
I agree with that. He's fucking mad.
Are
we losing people?
No, I'm trying to get to where I can hear Michael. Yay, I can hear him again.
Okay, perfect.
Don't sign out. Fuck.
There's Wanker. Now, please, don't screw this up again.
I guess that's about it. I mean, unless you guys want to add anything, if you guys want to show your opinions to I know Michael had an opinion on it, so we'll let him speak.
An opinion on what now?
The Bill-C16.
Bill-C16's a cunt.
My opinion is basically kind of similar to what you've been going on about now, is that it's so ill-defined. Like, you can't really police speech because how do you prove intent behind it?
But the morally reprehensible thing is that our Constitution was set up to allow it.
And there's also that.
But our Constitution, funny thing is, it doesn't just restrict freedom of speech or expression. It applies to every single freedom there is.
Oh, God.
I know.
So you're fucked either way.
Yes, our government has the power it shouldn't have, and it was set up that way willingly. It was intentionally set up that way.
Did you seriously sign out again? God.
Everybody's leaving.
I couldn't hear you. I'm trying to get.
No one's leaving. It's
Okay.
because
Now, can you hear Michael?
Yeah.
No, I can't because he signed out again.
I couldn't hear you before.
I'll have to. Okay, next time we'll do this on my chat channel. Maybe this will be a little bit better. It's got to be something with the server.
Maybe
Technical
maybe
difficulties.
Okay.
maybe it's probably
My-
hard to
my
do.
This is why
opinion
you
on this
show up. This
godforsaken-
is why you show up to setup. This is why you show up to setup time.
My problem with this godforsaken bill is that it's so broad that it's not just gonna be like the person who's blatantly hate speeching on the bus. It's going to be like YouTubers online, like ones like I don't know, Nigga Higa, who like barely scratch the edge and they'll be thrown in jail. Like people on the
But
street.
Nigahiga isn't Canadian. Like Jordan
as an
Peterson.
engineer.
Jordan Peterson was at risk of losing his job, but I like his story a little bit. I like hearing what he talked about because he wasn't. You think you hear all these stories in the U.S. Oh, I was thrown out of my job. He wasn't as worried as people think he is because he knows because he can present himself reasonably.
Yeah, Skeptic, Armored Skeptic is a guy that I respect who is a Canadian-born, and he does a lot of skeptic videos. Not only anti-religion, but also anti-SJW stuff.
I don't get the whole. I really don't. The whole anti-religion thing, I really don't get. I mean, I get it, but I really don't care for it too much.
Well, it harpens back when religion in the U.S. was a lot more potent, and in Europe it was a lot more potent a few
Here's my
years
thing:
ago.
75% of the U.S. population is Christian or Christian.
Yeah.
As long as bills and legislation is passed without religious bias or any type of bias in mind, I don't care what people think. I was just talking to Michael and Hanan about this. If people have thoughts but they don't act on those thoughts, if people have undesirable thoughts but they don't act on those thoughts, then I don't care what they think. Like, I don't care that Mike Pence thinks conversion therapy works. I don't care as long as he doesn't act. As long as he doesn't make stupid actions on it, I don't care what he thinks.
What?
My problem is that he might, and that's my big fear, is that he might, and assholes like him might.
But if he tries to, I sincerely hope. I don't know if this will happen or not. Someone forces him to defend his position because as of right now, the facts are that type of shit doesn't work. But it should never be denied of further studies into it. I think Michael was saying Mike Pence he wasn't for forcing it. He was for people who want to have the therapy done can have it done on their own free will. And I think that's okay. But I don't want people I know a lot of the ways that it's done are inhumane and I don't want inhumane practices. But I don't
problem, well, around here, I currently live in Alabama. Alabama was a big place for a long time having those kind of acts happen, and not only that, they had fag drags around here during the 1930s, 60s.
And what are those?
There were
wait a second.
Think same kind of things that openly beating gays.
Yeah, but that's absolutely morally reprehensible. Like, that's morally
If that went down
reprehensible.
to my
That's
school,
assault.
you would
and
have
should-
150 kids coming down your ass in a second.
Like,
Well, this was back in the 30s.
no, you're right. That shouldn't be legal, and that shouldn't be allowed at all.
That's just against human rights.
Yes,
like
exactly.
I agree, and
against human rights altogether.
Now, I do believe that people want to peacefully say that I believe these things, like the KKK rally. I don't know if you saw the video, but there was a KKK rally that was just broken up into an all-out brawl because social justice wankers just invaded it.
Here's the thing with Nazis and social justice warriors. If there's nobody to hit, they're gonna start beating the shit out of themselves. That's what happens. Like, you go to a Nazi mosh pit, and they'll fucking just start hitting each other because they're always so angry, and fucking they'll just start. They have no way to, express it other than hitting each other. Which
What you're saying is, if we all just sort of go to ground and keep quiet, eventually the SJWs will wipe themselves out.
Yes.
Maybe.
I have
mean,
a
that
bunker.
might be
You guys can all
interesting.
come. I've
Why are we
stockpiled
making-
weapons and ammunition in
No,
there.
No, screw you! I have a real bunker in my basement.
But do you have stockpiled weapons?
I have my martial arts weapons. Are those good enough?
What are you, fucking Sean Hannity, karate master?
Actually,
An Asian with martial arts. You are
I'm Jackie Chan. I can deflect a bullet with my staff.
Oh my god. Do you have nunchucks?
Okay.
Let's
Okay, I
read the
think
next
we've
series,
reached
Sam.
we're up on an hour. I think we've reached the end of our thing. Let's see how this goes. And...
I don't think we can
Yeah.
add more to this situation than we already have.
Michael, do you want to quick? Want to go quick?
I don't know. Can you
No,
even hear
Michael's winking. Michael's already
I can
gone.
hear you.
me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, everyone can hear me.
All right, what do you guys?
Oh,
want
no,
to- what
I
are you
can hear
guys
you
doing up here? Or...
All right. Well, I think we've gotten all we wanted
Yes.
to say.
Is there anything
Well,
else you wanted to
Mike,
do
I
or
wanna
add?
I wanted to hear Michael's side a little bit of Michael's ideas and.
Yeah,
Okay.
Michael hasn't
Go
talked
ahead.
at all.
All right, give him the floor.
Okay. On. Just not saying my opinions. I mean, I've got opinions, but so I need to chip into something.
Well, the First Amendment Protection Act, the 14.
Mostly agreeing with you on both of those counts. That the C16 Act was it C or B? It was C16.
C16.
Seal.
Yep, right.
16. Okay.
With that, it mostly just comes down to the same with the First Amendment Act. Actually, is that this sort of stuff is so well ill-defined, and that how can you really police it?
Like
Yeah,
I think
fair
you're right. You
enough.
shouldn't
And
be
that
able
is the
to
issue.
police opinions and speech. You should be able
Exactly.
to police genuine discrimination and other people taking away people taking away others' freedoms just because of their bias.
Precisely.
That
How
shouldn't
do
be
you
allowed.
now-
But people shouldn't be. The government should be allowed to take away other people's freedoms just because of their bias.
Here's another side of that coin. I can name countless times where men's rights rallies have been shut down by feminists because they claim that it was hate speech and misogynistic. They've
Opinions.
used that argument countless times to shut down dissenting opinions.
You see, there's
And-
feminists and then there's feminazi.
No,
That's the
no.
problem.
Feminism has devolved into third wave campus feminism. Like my favorite actual
Okay,
feminist, my favorite actual feminist is Christina Hoff Sommers, because she
She's
knows the
cool.
facts. She's actually a feminist.
Camille Paliev,
Yeah.
Christina Hoff Sommers, and I don't know which one. Karen named a few.
I
other-
mean, a
oh,
little
Tiffany
bit,
Crow.
a kind of Sally Cohn. I can agree with her on some stuff. I can disagree with her on other stuff. I mean,
I used to respect the skeptic feminist, and I did some stuff with him.
Why?
I used to talk with him, but now just no.
I think one of the
No.
greatest anti-feminists in America right now is Ben Shapiro.
Definitely.
Guaranteed.
I
You
don't know
guys
much
love
about
Ben
Ben
Shapiro.
Shapiro. I don't know much about Ben Shapiro.
Oh, he's
I don't.
fantastic. I
watch
watch
his
his
stuff.
podcast like every day, or except for
Basically-
Fridays. He doesn't release them on Fridays, and whenever he's doing his Jew holidays, he's off on his Jew holidays.
All them Jew holiday things. We don't
Jew
talk
holiday.
about that.
The Jollidays.
Them dirty Jews are they're running everything.
Dude, they're so
Ah.
confused.
Dirty Jewish infiltrators.
All right, I think that's about it. So I'll see. We'll maybe set up something for next week if this goes quite well.
All right, I
Alright.
guess.
Well, and the only way we get better is trying, keep making shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep making
Alright,
this
All right,
cash
this
until it
was
becomes
the
not cash.
as for right now. This was the CanCon show. I don't know how many people are watching us live. But
None.
None, because nobody has responded. But I will
How big is
post
your
the
channel?
after show and
okay.
put that around. So,
All right, what's the after
all right,
show?
guys.
Yeah,
There we go.
that's
I'm watching
understandable
right now.
then.
So good.
I mean, like, Bro Fresco's channel is
Okay,
like over
I
a
will
million
stop
people,
the
and he only gets
recording in
2,000
3,
live viewers.
2.